Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu salam, sallallahu alaihi Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Tariq Khalid. I'd like to welcome to our program here at Sharjah Media Corporation, Doing Good. And we hope that by Allah's permission and grace, that all of you who are viewing this program, that Allah has blessed you with the good in your life. And of course, the most important thing, goodness in your heart. And if you don't feel, for example, that you are a good person, that you become inspired to do the things that will help you become a good person, to take the steps to make you become a better person, and that in this effort, you will be pleased with yourself. And that more importantly, Allah will be pleased with you. And if Allah is pleased with you, then Allah will order the angels to be pleased with you, and order the angels to order the people to be pleased with you. So these steps in terms of purification or the goodness of the heart are important for us. And we should not be deluded by the negativity of the world, or we should not be deluded by bad experiences in life. And in many instances, people have become very negative because their lives have some difficulties, have some hurdles, some challenges, some obstacles. And sometimes they're very serious. But we must believe that in every circumstance, however difficult it might be, that Allah can make it easy. And that we should just be patient in this. Now, what is the vehicle? And it's interesting because I've heard people challenge this in different ways. And I don't want to go into the challenges. Allah said in the Quran more or less that the Quran is a healing and a mercy. A healing and a mercy. So what am I saying to you? Because people say, well, brother, I don't really know Allah. And I've met people like this. Says, listen, I was raised as an atheist. My mother and father were atheists. Okay, you tell me about Allah. You tell me about the Quran. Okay, fine. But why should I believe you? I have no reference for this. I've lived my life. My life has been good. I'm young. I'm vigorous. So show me logically how I can conclude that I need Allah. And of course, this is a reasonable question for an atheist, isn't it? Someone who's been raised as an atheist. So we say the Quran is the guide. Turn to the Quran. Read the Quran. Ask Allah, and you will see. So let's just look at something here. And narrated Abdullah bin Mas'ud, I know the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever reads one letter of the book of Allah shall have a good deed recorded for him, and every good deed receives a tenfold reward. I do not say that Alif Lam Mim is a letter, but Alif is a letter, and Lam is a letter, and Mim is a letter. And this is collected by Tirmidhi. And Mu'adh bin Anas, reported the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever recites, say Allah is the one and only. This surah, Qul Huwallahu, had the surah number 112, chapter number 112, short verses. 10 times, Allah will build for him a palace in paradise. In this Hassan bin Jami al-Shaykh al-Albani, a palace in paradise. 10 times. So we're looking at what? A physical manifestation from reciting the verses of Quran. Think about it. Physical reward from reciting the verses of Quran. Now Allah is challenging you in one way, isn't he? Allah is saying, you can't see the palace in paradise, but you have to believe. So we have to believe in Allah without seeing him. Yes, we have to believe that that is a reality. And in reading the book of Allah, we develop this reality. And Abu Hurairah related, he quoted the Prophet ﷺ saying, supplicate Allah, knowing for certain that your dua, meaning your prayer, will be answered. And make no mistake, Allah will not regard prayers that come from a heedless heart. So, be serious. And this is what we're saying. Be serious in your prayers. Now, a person says, well, brother, again, I don't know. It says, well, if you've never done it, start and try, and then you will see. And this is the answer I offer you. And if I were to ask you, and I've asked many people, have you not seen something in your life that you knew was not in your control and it just happened to you? For example, you were driving a car and you were in a hurry to go somewhere and you were going a little fast. And then in a split second, you saw another car come into your path. And just in a split second, you stopped your car. You prepared to hit that car, or worse, to hit a person walking in the street. But by Allah's permission, the car just stopped inches from hitting that other car or hitting a person. Just giving this example because many people who drive frequently have experienced this in one way or another. It was just a reflex, instantaneous reflex. And they know just as easily they could have hit that person. It is only by the permission of Allah that they didn't hit them. Most of us have experienced something like this. And if you talk to most people who drive regularly, they've had some experience like this. And we have something, everyone has something that they can relate in a different way. Okay, I ask you the question. Why is it that this didn't happen? This accident happened. At the same time, you see somebody else do this. He kills someone in the street. Another one, kills himself or kills other people in a car. We see this every day. Why is this? Why is it that you were saved and that person was saved? It was not in your control because you didn't have control of the car. It was only by Allah's permission that your car stopped instantaneously. So think about these things. There's no such thing as luck or chance. No. This is the decree of Allah as what is supposed to happen to you. If you understand this, if you really sit and think about it, contemplate on it, you will see it. That it's only by Allah's permission that you were saved in this incident. Other people, and you may even know people who died in the same situation or very close to it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent an angel to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam with the good news that Allah would grant him blessings which are contained in Surah Al-Fatiha, which is the first chapter of the Quran. The companion Abdullah bin Abbas said, while the archangel Gabriel, and the Prophet were once meeting, a noise was heard. Gabriel lifted his head and said, I heard today the sound of a door open that was never opened before in the heavens. Then an angel came who never came before. The angel greeted the Prophet and said, I'm here to give you the good news of two lights you were given that have never been given to any prophet before. Your Surah Al-Fatiha, which is the opening chapter of the Quran, and the concluding verses of Surah Baqarah. Surah Baqarah, which is the second chapter of the Quran, the concluding verses of Surah Baqarah. And no prayer, meaning dua, no prayer in these verses you make, except that it is granted. And this is collected by Muslim. So, of course, you have to be a believer. You have to believe. So if right now you're not a believer, or if you know someone who is not a believer, encourage them now while they have time. Tomorrow is not promised. There's so much written in relationship to the Quran, which Allah, the value is, which we read, the benefit that Allah gives you just from reading the Quran. That a person, if he's a non-Muslim, if he reads the Quran, inshallah, this will be a means of guidance for him. So we should think like this. If we have friends or family members, we try to give them the Quran, let them read it. We can recommend certain verses to them that will inspire them, will motivate them, will encourage them towards the correct belief system, wherever it is that they themselves may presently be or believing. In many instances, we've given the Quran to a person, says, just open it. Whatever's in your mind, whatever you're thinking right now, just open any place and see if this relates to you. And most people says, I just opened the Quran and there was a verse right there. I was reading it and it was just, I could see it was something related to what was in my mind or something which had happened to me, what I've been thinking about. Every single Muslim that I know knows of this particular type of situation. It's not something extraordinary. So a person who was a non-Muslim, we should encourage him to this and try to inspire him to understand that without the remembrance of Allah, without the relationship with Allah, that you are lost. That your world, you're deluded by the things of this world, whatever your present condition or status might be, or whatever appears to be inwardly from you or outwardly to the general public. Your life is in chaos. And the proof of this is if we look at the chaos that we see going on globally today, that man, when he is not focused on his relationship with his Lord, that he becomes distracted by the things of the world. And those things can take him in many directions. And unfortunately, many of those directions will be harmful for him in this life and hereafter, and harmful for others, as we're seeing. So it is incumbent upon us to encourage every single human being that we can make contact with to turn to your Lord now, while you can, while you're living. There is nothing that cannot be answered. There's no question that you can present to Allah that is puzzling or cannot be concluded or resolved. I mean, this is something that we need to understand, because people today have some complicated lives in some instances, and we hear them from time to time, and sometimes they lose hope because their lives are so entangled in many different circumstances. But my question always says, how much are you turning to Allah? How much time are you spending? Says, well, brother, yeah, I know Allah can do anything. I know that, brother, but I'm busy. I says, well, then you're not so much concerned about resolving these issues, are you? If these issues are so puzzling for you, you don't think you need to take the time out to take it to Allah and ask Him to resolve those issues and to be patient? Because Allah said more or less that the resolution of things in this world come through patience and prayer. That solution for whatever it is that we are facing is in this simple application. Think about this, implement it. Do not allow yourself to be so distracted by the things of the world that you lose the connection with your Creator. If you don't have that connection, do it today, not tomorrow, because many people that I've met, people say, well, you know, I'm a person, I have to do things in an organized, systematic approach. We're not against systems or organization. No, not at all. Of course, this is a good thing. But let me ask you a question. Can you predict your next breath? Can you predict the next beat of your heart? No, you cannot. So when you put off establishing this relationship, you are basically saying that you're guaranteed that you're going to live for one more minute. You cannot. You cannot assume that. He says, well, brother, you're being a little hard. You're pushing me. He says, yes, in this sense, I don't think I'm being hard, but in this sense, this is the reality. If you prolong your relationship with your Lord, it is not like missing a meeting with a human, regardless of his position. I ask you a question. If you had opportunity, an invitation to meet the leader of your country, the president, prime minister, king, queen, whomever that might be, would you miss it? Would you be early? Would you be thrilled? Your family, the people in your neighborhood, your colleagues, would everybody be thrilled by this? Of course they would. So how can you prolong the meeting with your Lord? Think about it. Says, well, brother, you know, that's a personal thing, and I have some things that I'm doing. And I've heard people say this, you know, brother, come on, pray for me, brother. You know that I need to correct my life. I'm doing some things that are not good. It says, okay, fine. If you're doing these things, you know that you're doing some things which are not good, then this is part of your understanding. Part of your understanding is that, okay, I know that I'm doing something that's wrong. And that is a good thing, which means that you're inclined towards doing things which are good. So take the first step towards doing good and turn to your Lord and ask him to help you overcome your weaknesses, whatever it might be. And don't ever stop doing that. This is a mistake. Some people, for example, let's take a guy who's a drug addict, alcoholic. He knows it's not good for him. It's caused him complications in his life, but he can't stop. And he believes in God, but he hasn't made the connection. And he thinks, well, you know, I'm a drug addict. I'm alcoholic. You know, Shaitan has told him, God ain't going to listen to you, man. You stay high all the time. So what we suggest that you do, get sober and turn to Allah and make the intention and ask Allah to help you be sober and to continue worshiping Allah when you're sober until you can stay sober. And this relates to all things in our life. We all need to be sober, and we all need to be patient in seeking the help of Allah in our life. My name is Tariq Khalid. I'd like to thank you for joining us here at Sharjah Media Corporation on Doing Good, and we wish and we pray for every single human being that Allah guides them to the truth, that their hearts may be enlightened and inspired with the nur of guidance. And the guidance of what? The guidance of the truth of knowing who your Lord is and worshiping him in the way that he's prescribed. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.